had taken the body, he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth and laid it in his own new tomb, which he had hewn out of the rock. And he rolled a great stone to the door of the sepulchre and departed. So as you can see, brothers and sisters, once Yahusha's body was taken down from the tree, Joseph of Arimathea wrapped his body in a clean linen and he put it inside of a wall-like area, or a what's called, they buried people at this time, brothers and sisters, not 6 foot under like we do today. They buried them in a cave type wall, or how can I make this where it's very plain? Just plainly, sisters and brothers, they buried it in they hewed out a rock out of a wall, and they buried the individuals in there, inside of these sepulchres, or these graves, or these cave places, okay? That's the best way I can explain it to you. So they did not bury him 6 foot under. They did not put him in the middle of the earth. They put him in a sepulcher, in a cave, all right? So what was in the middle of the earth? Remember, fear not him that can kill the body, but they can't kill the soul. That's why I went to read the Sheol out of Jonah, the world of the dead, as if a subterranean retreat, including its accessories and inmates. So inmates are here in this place, held captive. Skip back over to verse number 52. And the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city and appeared unto many. Now Matthew is the only one of the apostles, brothers and sisters, that gives this account of the bodies of the saints coming out of the grave after Yahusha's resurrection. Not before, brothers and sisters, but after. Why after? We're going to go into the gospel of Nicodemus right now and find out why and how did they come up after the resurrection of Yahusha. And many people, I know the church I came from, the Israel of God, here in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm not here to attack you, the brothers at Israel of God here in Atlanta. I'm just using them because they are who I heard this doctrine come from, where Matthew 27 and 52 and 53 is concerned. They read this particular text, and many others that come out of that particular camp, they read this text and tell you these people came out of the graves and they died again, because they don't believe in death and the afterlife as pertains to immediately after you die. They think when you die, you're just in an unconscious state, and that's it until the coming of the Messiah, second coming of the Messiah. So they go and they add to the book and say that these people, these saints, died again. Well, the book says to prove all things and hold fast that is good. It also says do not add to the word and don't take away from the word. If you don't know what something is in the scriptures, brothers and sisters, I beseech you to just leave it alone and say I don't know, instead of adding something to the text, because the book said you will be found a liar. And we know liars will not be in Yahuwah's sight. They will not tarry in his sight. So if you don't know something, brothers and sisters, never add your spin to it. Because once you put something out there, you begin to now have to protect a doctrine. I'm not in the business of protecting doctrines. I'm here to put out the truth where the doctrine is concerned. Therefore, I don't have to worry about any repercussions from the Heavenly Father. Do you understand, brothers and sisters? So I'm going to give you guys the revelations. Right now, we're going to get into the revelations from the gospel of Nicodemus. And we're going to see, did Minister DeAndre add? Did he take from the book? Or did he give you the true, uncut, unmolested word from the Most High? Let's go into the gospel of Nicodemus. We're going to go to page 190. Not only do I have the gospel of Nicodemus, brothers and sisters, I have many other apocryphal New Testament books that have been missing, brothers and sisters. But I'm going to get into the gospel of Nicodemus right now, and let's get into the meat of this particular lesson. Let's go into chapter 1 at verse number 17. And Joseph rose and said, to Ananias and Caiaphas, it is right and proper that you marvel at hearing that Yahusha was seen to ascend into heaven alive from the dead. But what is more marvelous is that he did not rise from the dead alone. Are you listening, brothers and sisters? But has raised to life many other dead from their tombs. And they have been seen by many in Jerusalem. And hear me now, for we all know the blessed Simeon, the great priest, who in the temple took up the infant Yahusha in his arms. Now this Simeon had 2 sons, full brothers, and we were all present at their falling asleep and at their burial. Go therefore and see their tombs, for they are open, because they have risen again, and behold, they are in the city of Arimathea, living together in prayer. I'm going to skip down to verse number 2. Ananias and Caiaphas, Nicodemus, and Joseph, and Gamaliel. You all know Ananias, Caiaphas, Nicodemus, and Gamaliel are in the canon, correct? So as you see here, as Nicodemus is unfolding these things to us, listen, brothers and sisters. And Ananias, Caiaphas, Nicodemus, and Joseph, and Gamaliel went and did not find them in their sepulchres, but going to the city of Arimathea, they found them there spending their time on bended knees in prayer. And they kissed them, and with all respect and fear of Elohim, led them to Jerusalem into the synagogue. And when the doors were shut, they took up the law of Yahuwah and placed it in their hands, and adjured them by the Elohim of Israel, who spoke to our fathers through the law and the prophets, saying, do you believe that it was Yahusha who raised you from the dead? Tell us how you rose from the dead. So this Simeon, who took Yahusha up in his arms, who we're going to get to in a minute, had 2 sons, Quirinius and Lucius. And these 2 brothers are the 2 that's going to give the account of what happened at the death and resurrection of the Messiah. Hearing this oath, Quirinius and Lucius trembled in body, and being troubled in heart, groaned, and together looking to heaven, made the sign of the tree with their fingers upon their tongues, and immediately spoke together and said, give to each of us sheets of paper, and let us write what we have seen and heard. So they gave the paper to them, and they sat down, each wrote as follows. So that makes the sign of the tree. Nothing pagan, brothers and sisters. They're letting them know by this instrument of death is how we are alive today, and those that rose with us. That's basically what that means, brothers and sisters. Let's continue to read. We're going into 18 and 18. The Master Yahusha, Messiah, the resurrection and the life, permit us to speak mysteries through your death on the tree, for we have been adjured by you. For you have ordered your servants to tell no man the secret of your divine majesty, which you did in Sheol, or you did in Hades. What majesty could he have done in a regular tomb, brothers and sisters? See, this is something far more than just a body going into a grave or sepulcher. You don't no dead people do mysteries, majesties in the grave. Go there in the graveyard and dig them, exhume a body and see if they're doing anything in there besides laying in the same position they were laying when they were placed inside the coffin. So this is something more, brothers and sisters. Now when we were placed with all our fathers in the deep, in obscure darkness, they said when we were placed with our fathers, brothers and sisters, if you go back into Genesis, you will see where the fathers were gathered, when people died, they were gathered to their people. All of the righteous were gathered to their people. Gathered where? We're going to show you, brothers and sisters. I did a class called Death in the Afterlife, and in that class I showed how the righteous saints were all gathered together on the right side of Sheol, called Abraham's bosom. The wicked people will go to the left where they were being tormented. So they said when they was gathered, and everybody had to go to Sheol, brothers and sisters, that died, I might say. Every man that died had to go to Sheol, the place of captivity, because of what Adam did, sinning in the garden. So all man had to go to this place before the Messiah's death, burial, and resurrection. So they said when we were with our fathers in the deep what? in the middle of the earth, brothers and sisters. We just read, well, the tombs of these two were not, their bodies were not there because, brothers and sisters, they was brought back up to life. Body, soul, and spirit. A new creature. But let me go on. In obscure darkness, suddenly there came a golden hue of the sun and purple and royal light shining upon us. And immediately the Father of all the human race, with all the patriarchs and prophets, rejoiced and said, the light is the author of everlasting light, who has promised to send to us the co-eternal light. And Isaiah cried out and said, this is the light of the Father, the Son of Elohim, as I foretold when I was alive, when I was living on the earth. You hear what Isaiah says? He says, now, the patriarchs and prophets are rejoicing in the deep. Dead people don't rejoice according to what some people tell you, brothers and sisters. How are these dead people rejoicing? Because the bodies were in sepulchres, but the souls were in the middle of the earth, brothers and sisters. I want you to follow me along closely in this lesson. This is what Isaiah said. Isaiah cried out and said, this is the light of the Father, the Son of Elohim, as I foretold when I was living on the earth. So how is Isaiah giving an account of what he said when he was living on the earth, down in the deep? So much for the dead don't know nothing. The land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali beyond Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles, the people who sit in darkness have seen a great light, and they who are in the region of the shadow of death, among them the light shone, and now has come and shone on us who sit in death. Let's go and look at this prophecy that Isaiah made when he was alive on the earth. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 9, brothers and sisters. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 9. Isaiah chapter 9. We're going to read two verses, 1 and 2. Isaiah chapter 9, 1 and 2. Nevertheless, the dimness shall